Well, happy Monday to you, everybody. Oh, wait a minute. Twitter just not letting me go live. Have to remove Twitter. Oh well. Oh well. We're live on YouTube. We're live on LinkedIn. We're also live on TikTok. We're live on we're, everything but Twitter. We didn't, for some reason, have a little bit of difficulty going live on Twitter today. But, hey, it is what it is. Hey, everybody, happy Monday to you out there. Hope you had a good weekend. I know I did. It's boy, I tell you, the market is definitely turned. I mean, we're seeing some really strong action today. Not in the normal places, though. Not in the places we would like to see them in, but we are definitely seeing some action. So I kind of want to just get into the slides, and then we'll do we'll do the we'll do the questions after that. So thanks, everybody, and I hope everyone is doing well today. So let's get into them slides. Okay, well, guess what? No surprise here, but it looks like Elon Musk is the richest man in the world. Tesla went over $1 trillion today in terms of valuation, so that's incredible. I know I was buying it this morning. I was selling my other stuff to buy it. I kind of, I was buying it on Friday, and I was trying to get into it, and I think I did okay. You always, in situations like this, you always want to buy more. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, we'll definitely see what happens on that. So, very interesting. Of course, Elon Musk is doing great things. Well, the market is still in a confirmed uptrend. That indeed is a very good thing. So the market's in a confirmed uptrend, and that means we should come out of cash into the market. Now, oddly enough, some of the tech stocks haven't been doing as well. I've been selling into strength. I sold AMD today. I sold Microsoft today, only because they're really coming up on earnings. I wasn't up 10%. So using the rule, I like to sell into that strength. So I did sell into strength, AMD and Microsoft. I probably gave up a little bit, but I put that into Tesla. So hopefully that was the right move. We will see if that was indeed the case. Let's look at the indexes. That's definitely a good thing to look at. Dow Jones is up, S&P is up, the Nasdaq is up just slightly, not a lot. Russell is up, and the IBD 50, that's the growth stock index, is up. So, but it seems like we've been getting leadership. It's moved from the Dow. The leadership seems to be switching back to the S&P 500. Some of the oil stocks are doing extremely well right now. I have one EOG that seems to be doing very, very well. I've been looking for another one to move into, but I haven't been able to find one that has the right setup. That's the key. I all for the right setup, to get in. That's the key. Well, one stock that I definitely want to show you today that I have been buying, and that, of course, is Tesla. And everybody's, of course, heard of Tesla. It is up today, obviously. We moved. What's critical on Tesla is that we moved above this 900. The starting line here is this is the 900 level. We moved above this very critical 900 level. This is significant. And the reason this is significant is because this was the buy point. This is the point that this is sort of the higher high. It went all the way back, basically to the beginning of the year. So we've been in a consolidation on Tesla for quite a while. I mean, quite a few months we've been on it. It moved past that significantly. It's up in the after hours. Now it did briefly, I think it touched about 1,040, but the key is that we came through that 900 level. There was a lot of pent-up demand. It seems like the big boys are starting to buy it, and that indeed is a good thing. This really started on Thursday of last week. That's kind of when I started really seeing it make the move. And then, of course, I was talking a little bit about Tesla on Friday. I started buying on Friday, and then I also bought this morning. So hopefully, I think some other people that are watching the show probably have done extremely well in Tesla. It's a we'll see. I think now it's much more coasts are clear, and I think we're going up more now than we were. So that was, for the longest period of time, we were stuck kind of in this consolidation, and it pulled back. It pulled all the way back down to the 200-day line, and then it started to move up. And now I think it's going to move above it. If it can hold this level, if it can basically hold 900 or better, which I do think it will, then I think it's probably going to go up more. Now it's probably going to pull back a little bit tomorrow, so we've got to be kind of careful. I've set my stop losses at 935 on this one, so that's kind of where I am setting my stop loss on Tesla. So the Tesla stop loss is, for me, helps if I can type here, is at the 935 level. So, that's kind of where, I'm looking, that's where I've set my stop loss for this move. Now, hopefully I'm right on this and it doesn't pull back to the 935. But what you want to do as Tesla starts to move is you want to keep that stop loss fairly tight on it. You don't want to give up all this good gain. The thing about Tesla, it can be very, very volatile. So, you want to protect your profits when you've got them, and that's the case definitely here. So, definitely that's where I'm setting my stop loss is at that 935 level. I just want to kind of show you my allocation right now in the market, and that should give you kind of an idea of sort of how I'm trading it. I did sell my AMD, and now I have a fair amount of cash in the small portfolio, getting ready for possibly another acquisition round of Tesla if it looks right. That's the key. I do have EOG Resources. That's an oil company. Salesforce, and then Ternium, which is a steel company. But basically, as you can see, I have over 3 positions of Tesla in the small portfolio, about 30% of that current that current. But I have cash waiting for a potentially to move in even stronger if it deems right. So that's the key. Is getting into it if we indeed have enough of. So here we go. Here's my current. Here's my current. My current holdings. Basically, after EOG Resources. Now, I didn't take out AMD here. But I did sell that today. Sell that right before we came on. EOG Resources, Salesforce, of course, that's CRM. Ternium, this is a steel company. I did sell Linden Club as well. That was sold today. Robert Half, I still have. GBTC, this was a very strong performer on Friday. This is about 4% of the world's Bitcoin in a trust, so that's an interesting one. Down a little bit on the QQQ, that's the Nasdaq 100 ETF. I sold Fortinet today as well. I took profits there, mainly because I had 2 software security subjects. I had CrowdStrike, which I like a little better, and Fortinet, and then of course Tesla was the one that I mostly went into. So basically, I want to show you also the chart for the GBTC. That is the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, and they hold about 4% of the world's Bitcoin. It was up today. I do think that $50 is a key level on this. It has been higher, but it seems like it is getting some support, and it was up. The volume was up, which I like to see. I like to see it move significantly higher with volume. There's a lot of panic, of course, out there with the potential of inflation, and the GBTC, which has 4% of the world's Bitcoin, seems to be doing well. So we will see on that. The other coins like Ethereum, I haven't really done anything with them yet, but I might do that depending if it warrants it. I probably will. Also want to show you, of course, the Microsoft, this I did sell today. It was off a little bit. The part of the reason I'm selling this is not because it's not a good stock. It's a great stock. Look at that, 98. But it's coming into earnings. I didn't want to take the earnings risk. I decided to take profits. I wasn't up 10% from the time that I held it. I think I held this one a little over 2 weeks, but I wasn't quite up. I think I was only up about 7 or 8% on this one. Maybe not quite like that. I have to do the calculation. But typically, if it's coming into earnings, I'm a seller typically, especially if I'm selling into strength. So that could be kind of a good thing as well there. So I was a seller of Microsoft today, and I also was a seller of AMD. AMD is also very strong now. This was up in the after, this is up in the after hours. So this is probably going to be even stronger into earnings. I may have given up a little bit of profit here, but I definitely, the thing about AMD, it can be very, very spiky. If that's a word, I don't think that's a word. It can be very, very spiky, and when it is, it will pull back. So it's been up 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a row. I'm thinking that we're probably going to get, we're going to come into earnings. We're probably going to get a pullback on this one. This is the one I did sell into earnings today. Again, it was a very nice stock, very nice swing trade. I may be back in it. I may be back in it. Here's one I want to show you. This is interesting. This is the IBD stock of the day, and this is a very good way to get exposure to the lithium market. It seems as if lithium miners are doing well, but the problem with Lithium America and a lot of the other ones is that they really aren't. They aren't liquid enough for me. They're not big enough. They're not liquid enough. But here's one that is, and I think that this is something that you might want to definitely take a look at, and that is Albemarle, ALB, and it does have a 253.19 buy point, so it's right below the buy point right now. So there is also potentially what they call a handle entry. Basically, that's the cup with handle. That's an alternate buy point, not quite as good as the 253, but this is where you could make your early buy at 244.46. At 244.46, that is going to give you a pretty good entry, I think, on this one. And this is a mining company, and it was up $9 today, which is incredible for a mining company. 3.9%. Man, this is just on fire. So we want to put this one on our watch list, definitely, because this one I do believe, could really do, could really do something as we come into the demand for lithium. The interesting thing about this play, as opposed to a lot of the other ones, is that this is setting up almost perfectly, and that's one of the things that we're looking for, especially now that the market has turned into a confirmed uptrend. Is we're looking for those really good setups. And right now, I believe that Albemarle has a great setup. So that's one you might want to kind of put on your watch list, and possibly, and it's a possible buy. I'm not necessarily in it myself, but I'm kind of waiting for the right time. So that's kind of key. So thanks everybody for joining me on this beautiful Monday. Let's take a question from Trevor. He's interested in INPX. Let's see if I can, let's see if I can get something for INPX here. Hold on. There we go. Let's bring up the charts. It takes a second. I should have a little bit better bandwidth than I do, but again, it's always seemed to be a little bit bandwidth constrained, but not looking bad. Okay, so let's pull up INPX. Should have the chart up here in just a second. There we go. This one looks like I'm not familiar with this one. This one, yeah, this one looks like okay, cybersecurity. The leaders in cybersecurity, of course, are CrowdStrike and Fortinet. Now, I did sell Fortinet today. I did sell it. So let's take a look at this one to see kind of where we're at in terms of this is on the Nasdaq. I'm looking to see how. Okay, so wow, this is up tremendously, but it's still trading below that 200-day line. So I wouldn't buy this one. This just doesn't have a strong enough. This doesn't have a strong enough chart for me to buy it. It is up today, absolutely, but it is trading below the 200-day moving average. And as you can see, the checklist is 44. So here's what I would say on this one, Trevor. It's this one just is a penny stock. I know that you can make a lot of money in penny stocks, but you can also lose a lot of money in penny stocks. So I would be a little bit careful here with this one. So here's what I would do with this one. I just would avoid it for right now. I just would avoid this stock because of several things. Typically, a stock has to be over $1 per share in order to have what they call institutional support. What makes a stock go up typically is not us retail investors buying it. We're the little minnows. We want to follow along after the whales. The whales are the companies, the mutual funds, and those people. So this stock is too thin for me, and I probably wouldn't buy it. But I do appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching the show. And but I would avoid this stock for right now. I just would because it's just too thin for me. Happy Monday to you. Let's look at ChargePoint. I know that will charge well. They have and KR and Affirm. Let's look at ChargePoint first because we seem to be coming back to sort of a Tesla-centric EV type of market like we were basically about 10 months ago, and it seems to be what's happening. So maybe there's some life in ChargePoint. I also want to look at Blink charging too, because Blink is sort of the companion. Even though Blink charging is smaller, I do like the action on it a little bit better. This has been in a downward trend, as you can tell. Let's see if we can put the line on here. What I'm doing here is I'm drawing the reversal line, and what I'm doing is I'm coming. Yeah, there we go. So what is this reversal line, and why am I drawing it? Why is it important? First of all, well, what this is that you don't typically want to buy a stock as it is moving lower. And currently, even though we have a small uptrend here, we're still below that 200-day line. That is the black line there. And we're just above the 40-day line. But unfortunately, the general overall trend of ChargePoint is downwards. So right now, it has a checklist of 56. So right now, it's a watch list, but it is not a buy. And that's really, really important because we want to watch list this stock, obviously, because good things may happen in this space, but we have to be careful. We don't want to buy a stock as it's moving lower. That's in the vernacular. That's called catching a falling knife. And right now, ChargePoint is moving lower, and it is moving lower. So you would catch a falling knife if you were to buy it here. So what you want to do on this is you want to put this on your watch list. You want to see it when it moves above this reversal line. Now, the key on that is going to be about 29. So basically, if this moves above about $29 a share and it closes above that, that's where we possibly want to start possibly looking at. That's right here. That's at this. So here's what I would do. I put this on a watch list for right now, and then I would wait. I would wait for CH for ChargePoint for wait for $29 or above. Because at that point we will know that it is indeed moving. It is moving up. So basically, what I would recommend on this one on ChargePoint would be to wait until it starts to move above that critical 29, because that will signal a reversal. So right now, it's only a watch list. Right now, charge point is a watch list. It's not buyable right now because it is moving. It hasn't confirmed its movement upwards. So I would watch list charge point, and that would, and then if it moves above 29, then I would consider buying it, but I wouldn't consider buying it before. Let's see if let's see if we can look at KR. KR is KR. Let's look at KR really quick here. KR, Kroger. Okay. Well, I shop there. I shop there. It's a good store. It's definitely a good store. But here's the thing. It looks like it has bounced off of the 200-day line. Not too excited about it. Relative strength of 60, checklist of 44. Okay. I think that there are some faster moving horses out there. The buy point's 39.26. So we're definitely above that. So you could potentially start buying in here. So you could start nibbling here because it does look like there was a reversal. The buy point 39.26. So it does look like it is moving higher. So you could start you could start a small position here. So could start a small position here, like a 1/4 position, because it's definitely moving higher. But it is at a buy point, but the buy point is it was a while ago. So here's the thing: you could start a 1/4 position here. I don't like buying it because it has this low 44% checklist, which I don't really like all that much. So I would be a little bit careful about this one. I don't think you want to go in, all guns on this one, because it just doesn't have enough oomph. All right, let's take some. Oh boy, we've got a lot of get in or get out of Tesla. Great question. Let's go back to the Tesla chart again. Unfortunately, I think a lot of people missed this one. It's probably not the best entry. I was trying to buy as much as I could this morning because I kind of saw this. Unfortunately, right now, Tesla is extended, and that sucks because I tell you, really good stocks, they don't give you all that much time. I do think we're going to get a pullback. I do think we're going to get a pullback on Tesla. My guess is it's going to be at about, it's going to be a little bit, it's going to be basically right at about 1,000 here. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I do think we're going to see a pullback tomorrow. We're extended, unfortunately, on Tesla, and this really is painful to say that because really the time to buy it, of course, was this morning. When's the best time to buy a house? 10 years ago. When's the next time to buy a house? Tomorrow. So unfortunately, right now, and this really sucks on Tesla. Tesla is extended. Tesla's extended. I started buying it actually on Thursday of last week. And I've featured it on my show a few times. And then this morning, when it punched above when it punched above 900, I was very much in it. I was trying to buy as much as I could. At that time. So unfortunately right now, and this really sucks, the stock is extended. Tesla is extended right now. So it's probably not a good time to add to the position. Now, if I had a position, and I do, if I did have shares in Tesla, I would be pushing my stop loss up. What I did is that I put my stop loss. If it falls down to 7, if it falls down possibly to 935, you might want to consider getting back in. But right now it's extended and you don't want to buy it because Tesla, unfortunately, will correct lower. This really sucks, but it's hard. This is the thing. This is why you just gotta, it's just kind of one of those things. You just gotta, you don't have a lot of time usually to get into these stocks, and that sucks. But that's sort of the way it is. Okay, let's take another question, and this is a question on PayPal. And the question is, what's going on with PayPal, and is there an opportunity? That's the key. Is there an opportunity on PayPal? So what I'm going to do is let's take a look at the PayPal chart. We got some nice action here, but we definitely pulled back. We've closed at the low of the day. We've got earnings in 14 days. We're below the 22-day moving. we're below the 50-day moving average, 200-day moving average. Excuse me. So right now with Tesla, and right now with PayPal, and this kind of sucks, but we're in a situation with PayPal where we can't really do anything right now with PayPal. What we possibly could do with PayPal, it's trading below that 200-day line. So what you got to do with PayPal is you just got to watch this one, and it sucks because it's still in this downward trend. It did just break through the reversal line that I had on it, but it is still in a downward trend. So here's the thing: it has a 44 checklist. It's just not time for PayPal right now, unfortunately. This is one of my favorite stocks, but I wouldn't buy it at this level. I just wouldn't buy it because it just isn't making it. This is a question from Fawaz. Missed the buying point on Tesla. Can we still buy it? Here's the thing. I think you got to be careful with this. Let's see if it pulls back a little bit. I may have egg on my face with Tesla, but I think it's a little bit. I think it needs a little bit of time to catch up. Here's the thing. Let me see if I can find an alternate buy point for Tesla for you right now. All right, let's do that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So basically, what's got to happen before we're going to get another chance on this is we need to see how far above that 10-day line it's going to trade. So I do believe, and hopefully, I'm a little bit of issues with bandwidth here again. Sorry about that. Let's see if we can get some more. Yeah. You could possibly buy it as it moves closer to the. See, right now it's 17.7% above the 10-day line. So this is going to have to come down. This is the 10-day line is going to have to move up somewhat. So I think it's going to pull back. Definitely, it's going to pull back probably to about. It's probably going to pull back to about 950, and if it pulls back to about 950, I think I buy it there. But I wouldn't buy it now. It's a little extended. It will pull back in the next few days, probably to about 950. That's kind of what I'm showing. That's kind of what I'm showing on my thing. So, if Tesla pulls back to 950, that might be an alternative buy point. So that might be an alternative buy point, would be at about 950. That's kind of, that's kind of where I see it. That's kind of where I see it for Tesla. And that basically is halfway. That's above the buy point, the 900 buy point, but it's right at the top of this. It's right at the top of this buy range. So what I would do is I would try to buy it if it dips below about 950. I think you could possibly do it, but I wouldn't buy it at this level. It's probably going to pull back and adjust. So that kind of would be my take on it, at least for right now. At least for right now, I could be all wet. It could just continue to go up. Because typically, when it comes out, when something like Tesla moves up this fast, it's going to adjust downwards. So it's going to adjust downwards. Let's look at L LICY and Path. Path might be very interesting. LICY. You know, basically some of the techs. You know, we tend to be seeing a little bit of weakness in. We seem to be seeing a little bit of weakness in some of the Nasdaq stocks. So let's look at this one. This is a lithium play, Lithium Cycle Holdings. End of life. So this is interesting. So I guess this is lithium recycling. This one might be a good way to go. You know, I just don't know. That's just interesting. So this is a recycling play. You know, here's the thing. Unless they have some special technology, I'd be a little bit careful about this one. This seems like much more of a commodity play. If you're going to be in the lithium space, I think you got to have the stocks that have power. And I believe that the one you want is Albemarle, because that's a real company. I mean, that's a really large that's a really large company, and it's set up well. So instead of this one, I know it's very attractive to buy a stock that's in the $12 range. Believe me, I understand this, but I think that if you want the lithium play, I think you want to go for the best stock that you possibly can. Now, here's the problem. Albemarle has earnings in 9 days, so it's a little bit tight in here to buy this thing. So let me just take a look at the checklist. Hopefully we'll get there we go. We got a little, yeah, okay. So this has a minimum checklist 67%, which this is what I would recommend as an alternative. Now, I know you're probably not going to like to hear that, because it's so much more fun to buy a $12 stock that goes up to $20, believe me, than a company like Albemarle that might go up 10%. But I think this is a better stock, and I think it's just, in a lot of ways, I think this is a better stock. I think this is the better lithium play, is Albemarle. So that's kind of my take on it. So I probably would not recommend lithium, the lithium recycling company, but I probably would look at Albemarle, because I do think the area is a great area. It's just it's just the case where it's just the case where sometimes you can't you can't trust it. So I would go with the bigger one if I were in the play at all. And I probably will not be in the play on that one. I just got some information from the Discord room that Facebook missed its earnings. I kind of want to see how Facebook is doing after hours right now, just to kind of get an idea of how much that's going to mean. You know, the fact that Facebook missed its numbers, and it's also trading at the 200-day line. So, boy, I tell you what, this is going to be interesting. But interestingly enough, it's up after hours. Isn't that interesting? It looks as if Facebook, even though they missed, is up after hours. Okay, this is a dead cat bounce, so be very careful with this. I would not buy this tomorrow morning. I would be very careful with this one, because this looks like kind of a relief rally, a short covering, something that this might not continue up. Now, if this does close above the 21-day line, this might give us an opportunity here. But right now, it looks like the earnings were up 34%, so they look pretty good. But I want to look. But they say they missed on guidance. That's interesting. I'm going over here to see if I can see. According on the June numbers, okay, so they missed. That's very interesting. Okay, so but it looks like it may reverse. So, I wouldn't do anything tomorrow, but boy, it's up after hours. Look at that; it's up 3.8%. Here's the thing: I wouldn't buy this thing after hours. I would wait on this one, but definitely you want to watch this one, because this could be a good opportunity. Actually, believe it or not. So I would just wait to see how this thing closes tomorrow. But I would watch this one. I would keep an eye. I would definitely keep an eye on Facebook, because it's come through earnings and it looks like it's going to reverse higher on the weekly chart. I'm going to look at the daily chart here to kind of see. It's definitely up after hours. So it went right down. It went right down to the 200-day line and it bounced. That's very interesting. Went right down to the 200-day line and it did bounce. So you've got an interesting situation here. This might be a potential buy but right now I would just watch list this one. Right now I would be watch listing. Um, I would be watch listing Facebook. All right, talk about Tesla. So let's see. And by the way, if you're watching on your Airbnb, if you're watching on TikTok, you can go to this address and you can see all the charts that I'm showing because it's simulcast that way. I can't simulcast on TikTok. I haven't figured out how to do that technically yet, but it's definitely being cast here on on um, on on YouTube. So let's take a look. We have a question on Airbnb from TikTok. I haven't looked at Airbnb for a while. Love the business model. Of course, I've stayed in Airbnbs. Every year I go down to almost always stay in an Airbnb down there. So great model. You know, the chart though, the problem is it's in that travel that leisure area, which is a tough area right now. It's just due to the pandemic, it's just been a very tough area to to do well in. So it's the kind of thing where it's just very difficult, and we've had trouble there. So what would I say about this? Well, I would say this is not a buy. Okay, it's got a 67 checklist. This is absolutely not a buy. It is it potentially will be a buy maybe if it moves above 176. But right now, if you draw the reversal line on this, it's not a pretty picture. And right now this stock is in a downward trend. Now it possibly could reverse above this line, and if it does, that would be a reversal line. So if it potentially moves above this reversal line, but currently it's in a downward trend, it looks like it's getting ready to reverse. There's a thing about here that I don't like: 138 out of 197. So the money from the funds is not coming into this area. It's not coming into it's not coming into to Airbnb right now. So unfortunately, that's the case with Airbnb. Let's look at Teladoc, and that's TDoc, of course. One of the issues that I see upcoming with Teladoc is it's going to be a lot easier. Other companies are going to be able to get into it. There's not a lot of barriers to entry with Teladoc, and that's a problem. I mean, last year when I was buying, it was sort of the new thing, but now there's a lot of competition. Pretty much everyone can get on a Zoom call, and so I just don't see this being very good. It had essentially what they call the death cross, and that was basically that was basically back here when the 40-day line dropped below the 200-day line. This is a very bearish signal, and unfortunately, I don't see this as being very strong. Relative strength is 9. I think that unfortunately, this one was great. I mean, it was all the way up here at 308 in February. It's now selling for 142. This could go a lot lower, so I'd be really careful with Teladoc. I would. This is a definitely. This is definitely a don't catch a falling knife kind of situation. I just think you've got to be super careful on this. So I wouldn't touch this one. Don't catch a falling knife on Teladoc Health. I think it's going to be it's just going to be difficult. It's just not going to do what you want. So don't catch a falling knife on Teladoc. I would be very careful about getting into this particular issue. All right, let's see. More like, oh, hey, thank you for liking me, by the way. Let's look at Square. Now, Square had a huge sell-off. That's a really good one to look at because, Square, of course, has that exposure to Bitcoin. So interesting. I get my exposure to Bitcoin using the GBTC, the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. It looks like may have gotten a little bit of a bounce. It really had a tough time on Friday. As you can see, it kind of pulled down, but it seems like it's finally making its way above the reversal line. I'm still a little bit dubious on it. I'd like to see it move higher. The question is this a good time to buy it? Well, you know what? Here's the thing. I want to see it really move up to 289. That's really where I want to see it. It is gaining strength, but in the intermediate term, I kind of, it does look like it's getting strength, but I kind of want to see it go higher. So I would possibly start nibbling at about 268 on this. That's kind of where I would. That's kind of where I would start to potentially buy it. Would be at about two. So 268. So I would look to possibly buy above. So that's kind of where I see. That's kind of where I see it is right at about 268. That's where I would probably buy it. So that's kind of my take on it. By the way, this is why it's so important to watch list something and wait. If you're watching the show on Friday, we talked about DWAC, and I didn't really want to issue a buy order because obviously it could be. This is the Donald Trump SPAC. You can see it just absolutely pulled way back here. This is why you want to watch list stocks, and you really, especially with an IPO, you want to be super careful buying them because they can come out of the gate and look so good, and then they could just go and move like this, and that's kind of a situation that you got to deal with. It's so this is why you watch list, because you can't always tell that something like this is gonna happen. This is the Digital World Acquisition Corp. This is the Donald Trump SPAC. It came out of the gate tremendously on Friday, and then it pulled back. As you can see, it's way back down. It's down to 85. It went all the way up basically to over 150. So it's really interesting. Now, that's not to say that this is ended here, but it's more difficult. It's getting more difficult. That's the thing. It's tough. I mean, it's tough because you look at this, you go, wow, it's you get FOMO, fear out. You're like, wow, this thing is going up, and I want to be on the train, but you got to be careful because sometimes that train derails, and I think that's the case. Is Indian market overvalued? Good question. I think that actually the Indian market, I'm not an expert at the Indian market. I will be absolutely honest with on the Indian market, but I do like it as an emerging market. The biggest problem that I see with the Indian market is the lack of liquidity. So the way I like to approach the Indian market is to buy some of the larger stocks that are traded on the market exchange with depository receipts, ADSs, companies like Woodpro. Now, I want to show you. Interested in the Indian market. Here's a stock I think that you should look at, and I'm sure that you know this company. It's WIP. I think it's WIP Woodpro. Yeah, no, WPRO. I think that's it. I think that's the no. I should know this. This stock. It's a great stock. It's Woodpro. You've heard of them, and see if it lets me. No, I can't. No, I can't see it. Oh, unfortunately. But Woodpro right now, it's set. The last time I looked at it, it was set up very, very nicely. And if you're in the Indian market, this might be one. Let me see if I can. Let's see if I can get a symbol for that on the American Exchange. I was looking at the stock. Let's look at the symbol there. Okay, let's see if I got it. Okay, WIT. That is the symbol that I didn't know. That is the symbol I didn't know. So let's pull up that chart here really quickly. WIT. A little bit of bandwidth. We need more bandwidth in this building. But let's look at WIT. This is an Indian stock that I think that, that its Primg is funny. My brother, 20 years ago, was selling a lot of bandwidth to this company. Very interesting. He was in AT&T in San Francisco. This is a stock. Now, this is going to be a little bit different, a little bit choppy. You're going to look at it and go, "Oh, that's kind of choppy." But this one is, if this can reverse, this one might be a very good potential stock to buy right now, because I do think it's going higher. It does violate a rule that I normally have, and that is it's under $10 a share. But it has pulled back to the 40-day line. The question is, I wouldn't buy it right now. I'd watch this one, see if this can get above the 980 buy point. But if this can get above the 980 buy point, then this is a potential stock that you could buy. And I think you do very well with it, because it's a solid company, and it has the ability. So with WIT is viable above the buy point, of course, which is $9.80. And this is Wipro, a very good company. And I think that, again, if you want to be in the Indian market, which is strong, I think this one is a really good. This has a really good international play. This is really, really good international. So I would recommend this one. If it moves above 980, I think this is a potential buy. Wipro Limited, and it's traded on the New York Exchange as an ADS, American Depository Receipt. So very interesting there. All right, thank you for that. Let's take another one. Let's look at for Mark. Thanks, Mark. Hope you had a nice weekend there in Rhode Island. I wish I was over there. So beautiful this time of year. Cleveland Cliffs, CLF, is the symbol. Of course, it's a steel producer in Cleveland. They did buy, interestingly enough, they bought Ancillor Metal, which is the largest steel producer in the world. It's an Indian company, actually. Sold their U.S. division to Cleveland Cliffs. So that's very interesting as well. It does look like it is moving very, very nicely. The buy point on is 26.51. 26.51 is the buy point. So I don't know if I would be in it, but the relative strength is extremely strong. We've got very nice earnings. I'm going to kind of check the fundamentals. By the way, what I'm doing here is that when you're buying a stock, you want to buy it on both the fundamentals, which are the earnings, that kind of thing, and the technicals, which is the chart. So we want both good fundamentals and good technicals. When we're selling it, we want to sell the technicals only. It looks as if they just came through earnings, and look at that, very nice movement. Their sales are up 265%. That is incredible when you think about it. 43% invested by funds. They have nice cash flow. 2% return on equity, which for a steel mill is pretty darn good. Their earnings per share is, I wish it were better, but it's probably going to be better putting these kind of numbers up. There's an old adage. If you can find a company that's growing 20% a quarter in terms of its sales, that's a company you want to look at, because it's extremely hard to grow that fast. And it does look like that is the case here. Now, there are some headwinds when it comes to the steel business, and that's China, because about half the world's steel is used in building buildings in China, mainly apartment buildings. And as you know, Evergrande and Country Garden and Fantasia, those are all Chinese property developers. They're all having trouble meeting their debt. So the demand there's a potential, if there is a collapse in these companies, which I do believe may happen, that the world demand for steel will drop, and it will drop significantly, because most of the steel is being used for heavy construction. About 50% of the world's steel is used for heavy construction in China. And of course, with Evergrande possibly not building, Country Garden probably not building, and Fantasia probably not building, that could seriously seriously dampen the demand for steel. So I would be a little bit careful with Cleveland Cliffs. This is fundamental analysis, not technical. The technicals for Cleveland Cliffs look very good. The fundamentals kind of not so much, but the fundamentals look good. Now, if of course, if we get a lot of infrastructure build here in this country, it'll be a great thing. But the the China market for steel is so large that I think you've got to take that into account. So I'd be a little bit careful with Cleveland Cliffs. I kind of want to see it move above the buy point on the consolidation at 26.51. So that's where the that's where the buy point is. So that's really for Cleveland Cliffs. I think that's kind of where it is. So for CLF, the buy point is 26.51. 26.51. So I would possibly consider it. I would possibly consider it Cleveland Cliffs at the buy point above 26. It's currently lower than that. It's 25.41. So I would be a little bit careful with this one. Also, there are that potential fundamental headwinds, which are a slowdown in Chinese heavy construction, reducing the amount of potential for the steel in half of it in the world. Okay, how does Lucid look? That's interesting. Lucid, I think they started producing cars, I guess, today. It's been up. I'm a little bit standoffish on it. I typically like to get the leader, and I typically like to be in the leader rather than lower. And as much as I like the design for Lucid, I don't know if they can. I don't know if they can do it. There's a lot of competition. LCID, I think there it is, Lucid Group. It's just tough to make cars. I mean, the fact that even Tesla exists is an amazing thing, and it is sort of the leader. I do think that we're going to end up with 3 car companies in the United States once again, and they may not be Fiat Chrysler either. It may be Ford, GM, and Tesla. Right now, there is a buy point on with a cup with handle at 28.39. Would I buy it here? Probably not, because I definitely want to see it move. It hasn't completed the IPO base. So here's what I would do. This is essentially an IPO. I would not buy this one personally. I could be so wrong on this, but I just, I would be careful. So I would watch list and wait for LCID to move above the buy point, which is 28.39. So that's kind of where I. Oops, well, didn't do. Okay, wait. $28.39. Well, I'm not getting that. Let's go on to the next question. Thanks, Ricky. I'm sorry about that. My band. It seems like this time of day, it's just the bandwidth just not enough. So I probably would not be a buyer. Long story short, I probably would not be a buyer of Lucid at this point. Thoughts on OSTK? Let's look at OSTK. And I'll pull up. There we go. Okay, this is Overstock. Yeah, good company. Definitely like Overstock. This has been a real winner. It looks like it may have bounced off the 200-day line. That's actually pretty good. It seems like it still needs to reverse. I want to kind of look at the weekly chart first to see if one of the good things is if you do look at the if you do start with the weekly chart, many times you can see, yeah, there we go. So it has not reversed yet. So what I'm going to do here with the weekly chart is I'm going to put in an alert on this and wait for it to reverse. So with Overstock, this is definitely a watch list. But what I would do with this is I would wait for I would wait for it to reverse higher. So so wait for the reversal on Overstock. OS. Okay. And the reversal is going to be at about, let's see, about 95 above $85. That's sort of where I see it. So with that, with reversal, you want to see it come above that black line. That's the reversal line, and that means that the trend is starting to change. Currently, the trend is a downward trend. Currently the trend is downward. Okay. What we want to have happen is we have it come and move above this black line here. Then it will come into an upward trend. That's where we want to buy it. We also want to be careful right now because earnings are in 3 days. We don't want to buy this close into earnings. We want to see how it's going to trade after earnings to see if we can buy it. So that's kind of the long and the short of it. It doesn't have a strong checklist. It's only 56%. The sales were okay last quarter, but let's see what's going to happen. Hopefully they're going to have good numbers, but I would wait until after. I would wait until after it comes to earnings. I think that's the way to go. Okay. For the Indian market, please TTM. TTM. I don't know if I can bring that up on my charts. Let me see if I can. TTM. I need to get some better charts for the Indian market because I know there's so many people. Oh, Tata Motors. Yeah, this is one of my favorites. Yeah, great company. Great company. By the way, there are certain companies. There are certain world automotive companies that are starting to really make the move. And this is the one I talked a little bit about. I think I talked this a little bit about last week. Tata is, if you've been to India, well, I'm sure you have, but if you've been to India, you know that this is one of the dominant companies, one of the biggest companies in the world, and it's based in India, and it's Tata Motors, and they're starting to export their product to other countries, and I see a really good future for this company because I think they've got their act really together, and they make a good product. I mean, I think that given 10 or 15 years, this could be like Hyundai, literally. This could be like Hyundai. I mean, it's already very, very big in Asia, but I think it could be, it could be worldwide. I do like this company. It's got a 98%, 98 relative strength. I really like that. Unfortunately, this is not the greatest buy point for it. So technically, I probably would wait on this one. I'd wait until we get a little bit of a pullback, but I think that this is viable. I really believe it is, and I think it's a bargain actually at $32. To be honest, I think it's a bargain. It's got a 98% checklist, so this is very, very strong. We came through earnings. Now you don't want to buy this one in the next 7 days. And the reason that you don't is simple. You don't want to buy it through earnings. But here's the thing. This is where you're going to want to wait for earnings. You're going to wait for earnings. So wait for earnings on, and they're going to have earnings. Tata Motors is going to have earnings basically on the November 1st. So it's going to be 11/1/2021. So wait for earnings, and after earnings, that's when you possibly want to buy it. But wait for earnings. Don't buy this before earnings. It's too volatile. There was a very large buy right before, so the funds are coming into this. That's something you got to look at. It only has 3% funds right now, with a cash flow of $1.85. The funds are moving into this. This is something you definitely want to look at if you want exposure to the Indian market. This is a true winner. 130 funds are in it, but there's more coming in. As you can see, every time there's companies that are discovering Tata Motors. So I'm very bullish on this company. I'm very, very bullish on it, and I do think, but you want to wait until after earnings. So important to wait for after earnings because, it's that old adage, buy on rumors, sell on news. And so typically, even if they have good earnings, it probably will pull back after earnings. But if it pulls back, that's where you might have a very, very nice buying opportunity. Thank you so very, very much for taking a look at my show. I'll be back tomorrow at the same time. It's super easy to get on our action trade alerts. To do if you're watching on TikTok, just go to my profile, click the link that says beacons. If you're watching on all the other platforms, go to www.Dallas Trading Floor and I need first and last name and an email address, and we can get you on the list. It's free. And also, we have a nice thing too. We do have a Discord group that is a pay service, but we during the trading day we have many people in there, some really good traders, and we all try to make money together. That is a pay service. A little bit extra there. If you're interested in learning the system that I use, CAN-SLIM, you can also go to www.Dallas Trading Floor, and then just scroll down, and it just says, and click on that button, and it talks about how to make money in stocks and one system, good times or bad. I wish I had written that, but I didn't write it. That's by William O'Neill, and you can get that off of Amazon. And absolutely great. It changed my life reading this book, and I've used CAN-SLIM, as many of the very top traders in the world do. I'm not necessarily a top trader compared to some of these people, but I've done very well using CAN-SLIM, and you can too. So that's a good thing to look into. I will see you here back tomorrow. I think I have one more comment. Let's see. Okay. I can't get to everybody tonight, unfortunately, but I will. Yeah, there we go. Facebook warned us, so it's not a surprise. Okay, yeah, that's true. So everybody, I will see you back here at 3:30 Central tomorrow. Thanks everybody for dropping by. I think the market is starting to turn upwards. We have a nice little opportunity towards the end of the year. Hopefully we'll have a Santa Claus rally this year. That would be wonderful if we did. We can all make some money on it, hopefully, and be happy. So until 3:30 tomorrow, happy trading. My show on TikTok. I also broadcast live on YouTube. So if you want to see the YouTube episode, it's DTF 47. Just go to bit.ly, DTF 47, or you can take a look easily on my profile. Just go to my profile, click on the link, and then we have the action trade alerts and first and last name and an email address. And of course, it's free, and you can get out of it anytime you want. You can unsubscribe if you like, but we do have some nice stuff on there. Some nice stuff. Highly rated stocks under $10. That was one of the last ones that we put out, and we do have some nice stuff on there as well. And also, it talks about our other things that are available as well. So I hope to see you back here at 3:30 tomorrow, 3:30 Central. Happy trading, everybody, and